Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's regular City Council meeting of the City of Freeport. It's November 18, 2024, 6 p.m. I will declare that we do have a quorum. Councilman Pena has not made it yet. With that, I will ask Councilman Rosso to lead us in the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you once again for gathering us here today to make some decisions. We ask you to bless us throughout this holiday season. Bless the council, all the people present under the sound of my voice. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, and you may be seated. As usual, we'll start off with audience participation. After we silence the phones. First one on my list is Nicole Morellis and Douglas Dominguez.
Mayor, Council, good evening.
Good evening.
Nicole and I represent the CCF. We've been in existence for 10 years now, doing great things for Freeport as individual citizens. We'd like to make two presentations this evening. One is for the Blue Santa program, and the next one is for the Super Feast, the Thanksgiving meal coming up. And at this time, we'd like to ask Officer Cardoza and Officer Johnson to come up. Chief. We'll get Andy in a minute. Yeah, come on, Andy. Come on up here. Come on up. Yeah. All right. Again, the CCF would like to present the check to the Freeport Police Charitable Organization in the amount of $250. And that's for the Blue Santa program. And also for the Methodist Church for the Superfest in the amount of $500.
Wow.
Everybody get in here. Get in here. Come on, get in here. Take a picture. Come on, get in here. Thank y'all. Go ahead, Nicole.
I still have time, right?
You do.
I just want to make a comment that this group is very dear to my heart. I was there from day one when we started it. And one of the things I like to see is, I'd like to ask the people that are here that are concerned citizens that were there from the beginning, if y'all could just stand up just to be recognized also. Yes, thank you. And I just want to give you a little background. The way we accumulate this money for donations and stuff, when we have meetings, we just have like a little coffee can that we pass around. You know, now we're meeting at restaurants, so anybody's welcome to come. We don't have to have a quorum. It's just very, you know, everybody speaks, everybody's welcome there. But the money that we have in our bank account, that's just from us giving, you know, donations every time we have our meetings. So to me, that means a lot. We've got a little bit in there, so we wanted to donate this to, because this is our city, and really appreciate everything y'all are doing, and y'all are doing a great, not that I'm anybody, but y'all are doing a great job. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you to the CCF. I really appreciate the direction in which y'all are going. Next up, we have Melanie Oldham.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Melanie Oldham, 1206 West Broad. I'm the Director of Better Brazoria Clean Air, Water, and Government. And our group encourages citizens to go to their local city council meetings, school board meetings, port meetings, and Brazoria County Commissioners meetings. But also with the city, I'm on the Main Street Historical Board. And as y'all know, about a year ago, the city council appointed me to be liaison between the city and the MUD 1. Your last regular meeting, I gave you an annual update on the MUD, but I forgot a couple things I was going to real quickly add to that. For those of you that don't know, October 6, 2014, the city council passed a resolution 2014-2452 to deliver to Eilisbury Ltd, the assignee of Skymark Development Company, a special warranty deed conveying to it the 13 acres of land out of the old municipal golf course. And they said they went out for bids, and they only got one bid from Skymark for $125,000. So, again, this was a special warranty deed. Since I've gone for a year to these meetings and I've asked questions, hard questions, but also, you know, I want to support them if they do things right. But also, in the legal description of the land, I'm not a lawyer, I may have read it wrong, but on number G, it says they give them the easement for purposes of an exercise biking jogging course located on the subject property granted to city by instrument. So I don't know if that means that that would affect part of our nice walking trail, because I have heard Mr. Wong say the value of the land is high because if I built townhomes, then people that live there could have access to the water and have boats there even. But anyway, the point is, I've been trying to research MUDs too. And MUDs are different. You know, when you live in a MUD area, you pay a MUD tax. I believe you pay, you know, your city, your school tax. But the MUD tax goes to infrastructure in your neighborhood. But again, nobody will answer me if you allow a residential area to be annexed into a residential MUD, how will that affect taxes? Say if Dow wants to build a warehouse on the 300 acres that's left, and they need infrastructure, and they're part of this, you know, how would that affect the taxes that possible homeowners, townhome owners would pay? So again, just something I forgot to mention. Y'all take that into consideration. Anyway, I just wanted to finish up my report on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oldham. And for the record, Councilman Pena did make it 6:08.
Mayor Kane, can I add one list? Okay, so I have
Yes,
one.
ma'am.
Okay. The other unusual thing is I checked the Brazoria County CAD for property value, and I've noticed on the 13 acres, which is right next to that really nice neighborhood, right near the water, near the high school, their property taxes have not gone up since 2018, not at all. But other pieces of land I know on or near the river have gone sky high. And I don't understand that either. That might be a question you ask. How do they keep their taxes the same on the old urban renewal land and on those 13 acres by the high school?
Thank you for that. Next up, we have Mr. Manning Rollerson.
Good afternoon, council.
Good evening, Manning.
Hope everything been fine for you guys this weekend. But I come asking two things. One, we had a town hall meeting on the 17th of November at the public library. Your residents came out and addressed the issue concerning the housing conditions in Freeport. And it's damning to hear people from this public saying how they was done by apartment complexes that you guys govern in the conditions that they're living in. I also contacted the county judge's office and sent him all the pictures in my house of all the mold that's in my house that I've been asking this council since 2012 to do something about the housing that I live in. Well, the county judge referred me back to the city, so tomorrow the inspector will be there. Thank you, Lance. I also contacted the Federal Department of Justice concerning this because of the issues that we are having with housing in Freeport and how the court itself is allowing landlords to take advantage of the citizens. The citizens made that a public statement yesterday. So when I came and talked to y'all the last time and say that y'all need to do something about it, you need to do something about it. Because that court is supposed to uphold the Sixth Amendment due process, and it's not upholding due process, and y'all are accountable to the citizens and how they living in this city. We need a moratorium on rent in Freeport. It's too high to live here on a low-income city. Number one, these landlords don't want a landlord-tenant policy, but it has to be a landlord-tenant policy because what I'm living in proves exactly that these landlords are not doing what they are obligated to do with the tenants living in these conditions. So something has to be done. And we can work together to do it, or all federal departments will be in Freeport, because no one deserves to pay rent and live in these conditions, and that the landlords have more power than the tenants that's paying their bills. Somebody got to have some insurance. In the city, you are liable for the houses that's in this city that's being rented in the city of Freeport. So we need to address this issue. And also, I want to know how Gordo Campbell was able to bid on an acre of land without it being put out into the newspaper for every builder in this city to bid on it. That was this the third time. Is there insider dealing going on? That's illegal. Let's get it on the where everybody can bid on it, because we all builders in this community, and we all have companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ollerson. No, ma'am, you don't. Next, we have Mr. Rob Gasecki.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members.
Good evening.
I'm Rob Giesecke with Port Freeport. I was here a few months ago, told y'all that the port was going to be divesting some port-owned properties within the city limits of Freeport. These were lots that were acquired over the years, mostly at tax sales and just kind of accumulated. We have no use for them, even either from a practical standpoint or the standpoint that we can't build on them in their current residential zoning under the HB 5336. So we are in the process of disposing of those at this time. It'll be a sealed bid sale. Bids will be, the deadline for bids will be December the 3rd, 2 p.m. December the 3rd. We have a list, it's 9 properties, it's 15 lots. Some of the lots are very small, so we got them combined, so it's 9 individual tracts. That list should go up on the Port website and the Port Facebook page. In the meantime, they are available, and to what Mr. Manning had mentioned about the public notice in the paper, that was in the paper, has been posted, I think, twice now, so that we have made the required legal notice for the sealed bid process. Anyone can find the list. I've got the list on my own webpage. For those of you who can't spell my name, which is probably most everybody, just go to Facebook. Just search for The Taxpayers Watchdog. No punctuation, no spaces, The Taxpayers Watchdog, and you can find the list there, and also some information about how to contact the right person at the port to find out about the bidding process. So thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Rob. Last but not least, Ms. Pam Dancy.
Hello, gentlemen.
Good
and
evening.
Dancy, South Front Street. I hope y'all are well and had a great weekend. Number one, have y'all thought about what I brought up last time about these small mom and pop businesses that when a contractor, okay, that you're going to put that on the agenda and talk about and come up with a solution to help them? Okay, number two, I don't know what in the world's going on with our receivables at City Hall. But I don't know if it's a failure on Miss Kathy or what happened, but when it reaches $400,000 for water and sewer, when Lake Jackson put up signs at that apartment complex when they reached $70,000. This is a heck of a lot of money, gentlemen. And the thing is that when I was a kid, my brother and I, if we did something, we would try to hide it here, we'd try to hide it here, we would twist it, we would turn it, and then when Mother found out about it, she wasn't upset about what we did, she upset because we hid it. Then she told us, well, you know what, I can't trust y'all. It's gonna take me a while to trust y'all again. And the difference between my brother and I is that we were children. You guys are adults. Thirdly, if I can find it here. Oh, and the $345,000 is not on the agenda. We hadn't heard zilch, and we hadn't forgotten about it. Okay, next thing is, Councilman Matamoros. When I heard that you had called Mr. Pena a cancer just like his sister, I almost hit the floor. Y'all can say words about each other, but if you, and I understand it's the second time you said he was a cancer just like his sister. This woman has nothing to do with this council, never. She's the sweetest, kind person I've ever met. And for you to bring her up, I don't know what your motive was. I think it's shameful because she has never been up here as far as I'm aware of it. And I feel like there's a motive behind that. And you look like you're kind of smirky, but I've dealt with people that have had two family members that died of cancer. And they're trying to survive. They're trying to survive. You can call him a cancer, but don't bring his sister into it, please. That is shameful, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And for you guys that didn't walk up, I don't know if you did or not, but if you didn't walk up and tell him that was unacceptable, then shame on y'all. Because y'all can get into it, but to go that level is not right. And that's all I have to say right now. Thank you.
That's enough. Moving on. Agenda item number 2 is the consent agenda. We have 4 items on the consent agenda. 2A. Oh, we have 2. 2A, action regarding the minutes of November 4th, 2024 and November 11th, 2024. And action approving road closure for the MLK Junior Parade on January 20, 2025. Council, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we pass.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Councilman Rosso. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And we got an alarm going off. Seconded by Councilman Davis. Council, is there any discussion needed? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-1. Agenda item number 3, proclamations and presentations. Mr. Petty.
Yes, sir. Chief Motley, Chris, will you come up? This is going to be for Employee of the Month for October. Mr. Vieira was not on shift the last couple of meetings, and we were able to get him here tonight. This employee nomination is for one of our employees that has gained experience and knowledge and skills for serving the Freeport community. This nomination is unique in fact that Lieutenant Vieira was working for a neighboring agency that responded to an EMS call into the county. The request for service was for a building collapsed on multiple people. Firefighter paramedic Chris Vieira was a part of the response to this call. Virginia Dossie, EMS Director of Clute EMS, wrote this letter of commendation. On September 22nd, 2024, at approximately 17:15 hours, Mr. Vieira responded to a mutual aid call for a collapsed trailer with entrapment in the county. Mr. Vieira responded in an ambulance and once on scene began assisting the confined space rescue operations to free the entrapped patients under the trailer house. From all accounts, Mr. Vieira brought level-headedness and expert skills to the scene. He worked tirelessly and without faltering to free the surviving victims from under this trailer. He was in my uniform, but the skills he brought with him that day were obtained and developed at the City of Freeport Fire EMS Department. I was proud to have him as part of my team, as undoubtedly you are of him daily. He is as strong in his paramedicine as he is with his firefighting skills. Fantastic job, Christopher Vieira. The public safety field is lucky to have you. Virginia Dossie, EMS Director, City of Clute. Chief Howell. Chief Howell has a special award as well tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Petty. 2,797. That's the number I want y'all to remember for a moment. When I took over at Freeport Police Department at the end of 2022, I'd requested a number of things to review immediately, and one of those was the most recent property inventory and audit. I was told there was no existing document. That's a little concerning when you come in as a brand new chief. So I quickly met with the property evidence records manager, Elizabeth Taylor. When she took her position shortly before my arrival, she was surprised too. She found there was no defined process, policies, or training for the property evidence. She stated everything she had learned by reaching out and networking resources. Elizabeth stated the previous property manager placed training focus on records, as that's another function of her job, processing open records requests as well. She said a former employee told her that the property room was a mess, that she gave up a number of years ago because the city would not pay her what they should for that position. That was not Elizabeth's take on this at all. Elizabeth began to set up a process, reorganize, and inventory the property evidence room. And during this setup, she also discovered that during a software transition, the property and evidence did not properly convert over, which resulted in an inaccurate accountability of over 25,000 items. She has worked diligently after hours on weekends, tracking down each case, each item, reading the entire case, reviewing all the documents from the case, to be able to figure out the possible leads and the directions on what things need to be done. And this has not been an easy task, as I'm sure you can imagine. But Elizabeth just always says, "I got this, Chief." She continues to work. The large binder of documentation that she has created along the way to include pictures of each change, updates on property and evidence, it's mind-boggling. But Elizabeth says, when I'm gone, I don't want the next person to worry or wonder. As previously mentioned, Elizabeth is not only over our property evidence room, but she also oversees records for our department. And in a department that processes 30,000 calls for service and several thousand cases a year, you can imagine the amount of records requests that we receive. Our department is also a part of over 80 community events in 2023, and at those events, Elizabeth is at the front and center of those. She does what is needed to be done, and she does it with the best attitude, the biggest smile, and a heart like no other. And if that isn't enough, she's also a board member of our charitable organization that has 4 different programs under that umbrella and has been the lead in helping rewrite our bylaws and constitution for that charitable organization. Elizabeth's been previously selected as City Employee of the Month and has also been selected as Police Department Support Service of the Year by her peers. We all love her, respect her, and look up to her, and she's truly one of the strongest people that I know. Having someone who works hard, self-educates, develops relationship, and strictly adheres to policies and procedures, all while maintaining such a high level of integrity and ethics, is the example of what your police department wants, and that is Elizabeth. 2,797, that's the number that I told y'all to remember. That's how many law enforcement agencies are in the state of Texas. Each one of those departments has at least one person in charge of property evidence. Many departments that are larger than Freeport have multiple. And so in competing across the state of Texas, our Elizabeth was selected for the 2024 President's Award for the Texas Association of Property Evidence Inventory Technicians. And we are so proud of her and wanted to recognize her tonight in front of council.
It's a tough act to follow, isn't it? I would like to add one more little bit to the updates. As y'all are aware, we changed the procedure on the citizens' comments, and I want to clarify a few things. The main reason we have done this is to allow for a more orderly run meeting. So basically, there's 3 changes. Number 1, the registration form that y'all all see that are sitting up there before the meeting needs to be turned in prior to the beginning of the meeting. That means if our meeting is at 6 o'clock, it needs to be up here at 6, not 6:05. Number 2, if you wish to speak on a certain item, you'll be called once we get to that particular item on the agenda. When we get to the agenda item, we'll call you. You'll have your opportunity to speak. If for whatever reason you elect not to speak, that's your prerogative. The third change is we're not going to have random raising of the hands to speak, because that proves to be interruptive in the meeting, and we're trying to make it as smooth as we can. So if you have any questions or concerns on those 3 items, feel free to give me a call anytime during the week. You know, we work for you 24/7, not just every other Monday. All right, moving on. Council, regular business. Oh, Mr. Petty said he wants to speak about upcoming events first.
Yeah, just real quick, November 23rd, a Merry Museum Christmas is at 11 a.m. at the Freeport Historical Museum. November the 28th is Super Feast at Freeport River Place. They'll start serving at 11 a.m. that morning. And that is it.
Now we can move on. Agenda item 4A, consideration and possible action of the annual appointment for the ex officio board member for MUD number 1. Mr. Petty.
Yes, sir. I brought this to council at the last meeting, and we elected to table it and get some more applications in. We did receive one other application from Ty Morrow. He's interested in joining that MUD, as well as Miss Oldham, continuing to represent the city on that MUD board.
Thank you, sir. Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to approve Ty Morrow as the liaison for the Municipal Utility District Number 1.
We have a motion to approve Mr. Ty Morrow by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
So, a second.
We have a second by Councilman Rosso. Council, is there any discussion?
Yeah, is Mr. Morrow here?
No, I don't see.
I do not see him.
Has he been to any of these meetings? Do we have any record of whether or not he's participated in any of these?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he watches them home or up here.
The MUD meetings? I don't think those are online.
Yeah, you said council meetings.
No further questions. Well, actually, we have Ms. Oldham here. I don't know if she has anything she'd like for us to consider.
Council, any other comments?
I was asking if we could hear from Ms. Oldham and what her case, if she's still interested in staying on that particular board.
Ms. Oldham is still interested, as it's in your packet, has her application.
I always like a public testimony for those that are interested in participating in the various boards. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Council, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Agenda item 4B, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2024-2893 for the appointment of a candidate to fill the vacant position on the charter review that will expire May 31st, 2025. Mr. Petty.
Yes, sir. I received an email from Miss Donna Hayes that she was resigning from the board. We did have one application come in to replace her on that board, and it was Mr. Douglas Dominguez. Mr. Dominguez, he does serve on the Parks Board as well.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to approve Douglas Dominguez to fill the remaining term on the charter review that will expire May 31st, 2025.
We have a motion to approve Mr. Dominguez by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Councilman Rosso. Is there any discussion needed, council?
Just for clarification, Ms. Hayes is on that board now?
She resigned.
She resigned.
She resigned?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how long did we have this notice out for?
Do you remember Ms. Fernandez?
What was the question?
How long the notice has been out that there's a vacancy?
When did she resign? When did Ms. Hayes resign?
November 8th.
November 8th?
Yeah, November 8th.
All right, so we have a 10-day turnaround, basically, on notice to residents that want to participate. That's what I want to clarify. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments, council?
I hope we have a longer period going forward.
Councilman. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? I didn't hear any opposed, so I'm going to say 5-0. Agenda item 4C, consideration and possible action approving of IT service replacement with Square 3. Mr. Cohen. Good evening.
That's better. Good evening. So after meeting with Councilman Matamoros, we went over the specifications of the previous. I actually had multiple options for going forward with this. We came to the conclusion that just for the interest in the safeguarding the city and mitigating risk, going with the secondary option, similar cost, they would handle pretty much everything for us as far as, not Square 3. Square 3 would provide the equipment, and then the vendor of that equipment would handle all of the transfers as far as server to server, which puts us much less at a position of having any downtime or things that might go wrong. I've worked with the support team of that vendor. They'll answer phone calls at 3 in the morning on a Sunday, so I mean they're pretty diligent, and they will handle the entirety of it for us.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for IT server replacement with Square 3 as presented in our packet.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
A second.
We have a second by Councilman Rosso. Any discussions or comments, questions?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
All right. So you saying that you downgrading or you?
It's still an upgrade.
Do you, huh?
We
But
had multiple
what you brought to us the first time.
Just another option. We
So
had
what-
multiple
what-
options.
So you agree with that? Like that's not a better option for you? Which one you wanted?
So the other option is better specifications, but it has a much higher risk for the city. If something
The one you
went-
brought the first time?
Yeah, if something
Okay.
went wrong, we'd be at a much, and generally that's the way it works, is like, well, what could go wrong? And then that's when something would go wrong. This particular one has no option for that. The whole thing could go wrong. We have a backup that's compatible with it that we could load back onto it that day. So this one doesn't have a chance. It's just for the sake of the city having stability as far as how this project can go forward. This particular option has almost zero risk involved in it if we go with this option.
All right, so that's gonna help you.
Yes, sir.
That's gonna be what you need.
Yes, sir.
All right.
It'll cover our existing services. A lot of things are going cloud-based. I wouldn't be surprised if 5 years from now we're looking at quantum processors and fancier things like that. I mean, there's really no telling, but this covers us from what we're using now with room to grow, and keeps our existing services working the way that they're already working.
All right. Well, I'm just making sure you asked for something and then you down talked it or whatever happened.
Well, I originally
We
presented.
want you to make sure
Yes, sir.
so you won't come back again and then you're gonna say, oh, it didn't. Well, we should have got that the first time. So, but if all right, y'all agreed and you good with that, that's gonna help you.
I presented multiple options originally to Mr. Petty, and this was one of them. This just happens to be the one that has less risk involved in it. So,
All right, you the one got to work it.
yes, sir. Oh, no, it'll work for sure.
All right.
And still protects the city.
Protects the city.
Council, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I had one other question here. Does this particular option here also keep us within the budget,
Yes, sir.
or is it right at it?
It's right at it.
It's right at it? And how was the other one?
The
Less
other
in
one
cost?
was about 5,000 less. Although, like I said, if something had gone wrong on that one, we could have the potential of having extended downtime for residents and city staff. So, I mean, lower isn't always better.
No further questions, thank you.
Anyone else? Well, I appreciate you and Councilman Matamoros discussing this and working through it.
It's a good learning experience.
Good. So council, all those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item 4D, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2024-2894, authorizing a revision to the City of Freeport Policy Handbook, Chapter 9, Employees' Wage and Benefits, adding a section 9.18, Residency Incentive Program. Ms. Fisher.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This policy, if approved, would be added to provide an incentive for full-time employees to reside in the City of Freeport. Council has discussed for the past several years wanting to increase the number of city employees that reside in the City of Freeport, and this benefit would serve as an incentive to accomplish that goal.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
Well, I like the idea of it all. I've been advocating that we have more city employees that live in the city so that we get a more organic experience by our employees, and there's a stronger concern. I think we've seen that in many occasions, and actually it's been
So is that a
proven in other
motion?
cities. So yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve it, but I definitely have a ton of questions on this.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Motion to approve was by Councilman Pena, seconded by Councilman Davis. Council, any discussion or questions?
Yeah, I have a handful of questions. The first question I would ask is, Ms. Fisher, what are the highlights and the I guess the incentives as they've been introduced in this particular resolution?
Okay, if someone who does not currently live within the City of Freeport but is a city employee purchases a house in the City of Freeport, they would get $2,500 paid out in increments over 5 years. If someone who is not a resident of Freeport but is a city employee leases a unit in the City of Freeport, whether it be an apartment, a home, whatever, and sign a 1-year lease, they would receive $100 a year up to 5 years upon renewal of that lease.
That's it?
That's it.
It's not a lot.
No, it's not, but considering our budget situation, we wanted to provide an incentive and still be fiscally responsible.
Something is better than nothing.
That's,
Are there any other traditional incentives that were left off but were considered?
no, I had looked at residency incentives, from other municipalities, and they're all similar to this one. The dollar amounts may vary, but this is something, we put it into policy, we put it into place. If 2 years down the road, we have a budget surplus of, $8 million, whatever. I know, I'm dreaming. Council could come back and adjust the amounts.
Dream big.
Hey,
Exactly, always dream. I'm just wondering why this wasn't introduced during the budget cycle, the review of that.
Money was budgeted for this. It was talked about during the budget cycle. During the meetings that we had, I had said I was going to present a residency incentive.
And what's the total budget that's,
It's about $3,800 for the first year, because we don't know how many employees are going to want to take advantage of this. So we were kind of trying to budget conservatively, but still cover it.
I like it. No further questions, thank you. It's a good start.
Council, any other questions or comments?
I just have one quick question.
Yes.
The purchase of a home within the city of Freeport, it states, this is their primary residence, correct?
Yes.
It cannot be a secondary residence?
No.
Okay. Because I didn't see that stated in here, so.
Yes, because we will look to make sure they have present us closing documents. Then we will check their residence each year thereafter to make sure they're still residing.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Good questions. Any others, gentlemen? Hearing none. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Agenda item 4E, consideration and possible action approving an interlocal agreement with the City of Lake Jackson. Ms. Fisher, once again.
Yeah, I'm up here for a while, y'all. So we do recommend approval of this interlocal agreement with the City of Lake Jackson. If approved, the city will enter into this agreement from November 1st, 2024 to November 1st, 2025 for us to be able to send employees to the CD Commercial Driver's License Training Program that Lake Jackson has.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to approve this interlocal agreement with the City of Lake Jackson as presented.
Motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Rosso. Council, any questions or comments for Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
How much they charging now? What
It's
is it?
about $1,800 per employee that we send. The interlocal agreement doesn't require us to send employees.
No.
But if the money is there, we can't send them without the interlocal agreement.
So who paying the 1,800?
We do. To send them to their CDL training. Public Works and Finance would work to find that money in the budget.
How are we currently
We're
tackling
not.
this challenge?
We're not.
Yeah, currently we're not. It became difficult getting your CDLs these days. You know, used to, when I was young, you could go down there and take a couple of tests and get it, but it's not that way now. You have to have specialized instructors that cost a lot of money to come in. So it's between the county, us, and local cities, it's best for all of us going together and share the cost of some of it.
If it was, because I work for the county too, so I know how difficult it is to get. Thank the
So
Lord
we
I
did not
got
have
mine
any
out.
program
you
in
know.
place to
But,
facilitate
I mean,
commercial drivers.
we still struggling now for them guys to pass that test. And it, that's why I asked how much was it, because, I mean, when it first came out, they was going to the college, and I think they were paying $4,000 for take a class, you know,
Yeah.
and then, because the county used to reimburse, but then when that came out, it was like, who gonna pay $4,000? So,
Right.
so they was trying to get it on their own, and
Lake
know.
Jackson, I believe they work with Alvin Community College.
yeah.
And they come to Lake Jackson and teach the courses. So this would allow us to send our employees there.
And Donna, just a question they probably need to know. On the, if we send an employee over, say Monday, they get their $1,800 CDL, they decide to quit 2 weeks later to go somewhere else, what happens at that point?
That, we do not have a policy in place
Yeah.
for,
So.
which we
that's what-
absolutely could, that they must stay a certain number of months after that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need to get a stipulation in there that
Yeah, because that was one of the things at the oh, sorry. You done? My bad.
And that was one of the
My
things
bad,
that the
I-
Public Works Director.
You were
and I-
talking, my bad, I ain't know. Oh.
Yeah, no, the Public Works Director and I had discussed that, especially in the beginning, that the employees that I was recommending to him that he consider sending were employees that have been with the city 5 years or more already. So,
Yeah, so,
because usually if they've been here that long, they're not gonna get their license and cut and run.
right, yeah.
I think the
But,
policy would have to provide that that would be deducted from their benefits, not current wages.
Can you say it again, please, into the mic?
The policy would have to provide that it's deducted from their final paycheck for accrued leave. It cannot affect their wages. But there are some example policies out there, and we can help on
Yes.
that if you need it.
yeah, I was saying that was one of the questions that, I mean, the concerns that came up that class came out at the county, and they were like, well, wait, what if I spend all that money and he get this license, and because he gonna make more money working for a regular instead of working for the city or the county. He can go drive trucks and make a bunch of money now. So it has to be some kind of, something put in place where they can't leave for so long. So, I mean, I can check the counties and see what we did, but I don't know. I can't remember.
That would be great if they could send me a copy of that policy.
Yeah, I'll check them and see what we did. But I think we need to table this one, though.
I like the direction that we're going with this, and I would like to vote on what we're actually going to be voting on. So I would ask, Mr. Matamoros, would you consider recalling your motion?
So, will this affect if we recall it, the agreement? Is City of Lake Jackson okay with us putting this?
Their council approved it November 5th. I would have to check and see if that's going to change the dates or do anything that way.
Okay.
I do know that would make, right now, they have a class that has just started that we could send someone to and get them caught up. Otherwise, it will be sometime in the spring before they have another beginning class. But it won't delay it but a few months probably.
So, my only question is, I don't want to delay this interlocal. I wish we could approve this interlocal and then have a policy to not send anybody until we have that policy enacted of how we will recover if somebody obtains their CDL that we've paid for and then they leave prematurely.
So you would like to vote on it as it is and come back with an amendment?
An amendment to the policy, the employee policy on providing this training.
I'm okay with that
That's
as well.
And Ms. Fisher, is there like an estimated time frame that you could have this to us, say?
I have written notes to start writing that policy tomorrow.
Okay.
So we could expect it.
At the next meeting.
I
Well-
mean, they still need, they still gonna need to merge. It's not like we sending nobody next month. I mean, we can have it all locked up and voted on at one time, have the stuff run. If she can have it in a month, it ain't like we finna send somebody next month.
I think
And Lake Jackson is not they wanna merge, they're gonna wanna merge still. If you wanna merge 3 months later, everybody is having a CDL problem.
Yeah.
And it's gonna help them, but y'all do what you want.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Matamoros, but I don't believe that his concern is hurry up and get someone over there to get.
No, his concern was hurry up. He don't want Lake Jackson to back out or
Is it
something
time
like that.
sensitive? And
And
that's
what
a
I'm telling
question we don't have the answer for. So if it is time sensitive, then doing it this way, we will be in good shape. If it's not time sensitive, then it's an extra item on the next agenda.
I have some additional questions.
Go ahead.
We're talking about the sense of urgency of it all and whether there's a deadline or not. There's no clear answer on this, so I get very frustrated when we come to council and looking at different ordinances and resolutions, and when we're asking staff questions and there's not answers to them, it makes it difficult for us to decide. Just kind of note that going forward. We have to make the best decision with the time available and the time we have here, and I'll just say that, we need to put these stipulations in, certainly, but then what's the guarantees that if we're rushing to this, that between now and the amendments, are you able to guarantee that we're not going to send anybody? Number one, that'd be one question. And then I'm also curious, how many people are we really looking to send here in the next 2 to 3 months, realistically?
We were looking at probably 2 to begin with.
And that brings me to my next question. You said earlier that it was not in the budget, that's $1,800. And so I'm just very curious, you said you would find the money. How do you plan on finding this money?
Personally, Public Works and Finance are going to look at the Public Works budget and see if there is another line item that could be moved to training. I'm
Yeah.
just presenting the interlocal
Yeah.
agreement.
Well, I appreciate it, and I thank you that you're working these interlocal agreements because they're beneficial to the multi-city partnership that we share here. But at the same time, I'm just curious, when we're talking about the monies, where they're coming from, what are we going to be sacrificing to get this money? It's probably simpler that we do a budget amendment, and then again, I go back to why wasn't this on the budget? And so I'm okay with moving forward with it if, in fact, we can guarantee that between now and the time that we actually adopt all the amendments, that nobody is going to be sent.
I would imagine that it would have to go through myself and Mr. Petty, so I can guarantee you I won't sign off on anybody.
No, no one's going.
Okay,
So,
yeah. Well, then that takes care of the time sensitivity concern. I'm still concerned of how this money is going to come about.
that's if Public Works and Finance are not able to find that in Public Works budget, then we won't send anybody until later.
On your next meeting that you're bringing this forward, can you, if in fact the money is found, help to ensure that we know where that money was found?
Sure.
Thank you, I appreciate it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Council, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Agenda item 4F, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2024-2895, authorizing a revision to the City of Freeport Policy Handbook, Chapter 9, Employee Wage and Benefits, adding Section 9.19, Digital Voucher for Safety Shoes. Ms. Fisher.
Yes, this policy is being requested so that we may provide employees with access to necessary safety equipment. Employees often start work for the city without proper footwear or the ability to purchase that footwear for the job. Once an employee has completed 90 days of employment, the city will provide a voucher for the employee to put towards the purchase of appropriate footwear. The employee will be eligible for a voucher only once per year. This benefit improves safety for our employees and reduces the likelihood of slips and falls on the job. And we have had a few missteps, slip accidents recently that have resulted in some pretty hefty workers' comp claims.
Thank you. Council, this is a program that they do at my job, and it really is a beneficial program. With that being said, I will entertain a motion to approve, or I will make the motion to approve agenda item number 4F. Is there a second?
I will second it, but I may withdraw it. I do have a couple of questions, and the reason why I want to second is so I can ask those questions.
We have a second by Councilman Matamoros. Let's hear your questions.
Okay. So there are quite a few corporations that do safety shoe vouchers. One thing I did not see is there a maximum voucher?
For this fiscal year, it's $150.
Okay.
Which in most cases is not going to cover the complete cost of a pair of safety shoes. However, it will come really close
Okay.
for the requirements that we have.
And with that voucher, if the shoe is under that amount,
They don't get any
they
cash
don't get
back.
any cash back?
No.
Okay. The next thing is, will that voucher, if they purchase a shoe that's not designed for their work activities?
They will not be able to use the voucher for that.
Okay,
The vendor has the list of requirements, and the vouchers can only be used towards shoes that meet those requirements.
okay. And they will go to a vendor that voucher states?
Yes,
Not
it's-
like a,
No, it is, in fact, for this year, it is Red Wing.
okay,
And they've got several different lines of shoes that range in several different prices.
Correct.
They can do them at the store, they can do them online, but they can only use them with Red Wing.
okay. Okay. The last question that I have is, you did state once per year.
Yes.
Is there a reason why you went once per year?
Because if an employee is needing a second pair of safety shoes 90 days after they've gotten the first one, there's a problem. They shouldn't. They're made to last. So that's why we said once per year.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that question is, you did pick Red Wing. Red Wing is a durable brand.
Yes.
Yes, you can beat up a Red Wing. But I was just curious about why y'all chose once per year.
Yeah.
Especially if we're allowing them to purchase a durable shoe. I would like to see it maybe longer, but your answer is sufficient. So I don't have any other questions.
Is Red Wing giving the city a discount for enrolling in this?
No.
No. No.
Okay, because I know with our company, they do. It's a lot more people that they're talking about, a lot more boots
Yeah,
that they're
that's like I
talking
said,
about.
They would have to go to
Yeah.
the store or go online. If we had more people, they could even bring a truck here.
Right.
But we don't have the people to justify that.
And we use a similar voucher, and I'll tell you, when you take that voucher, it's got a check mark that it needs to be this, and this, and they absolutely will not sell you a boot that if it doesn't qualify. I think it's great. Speak in your mic.
Did you say that if the boot costs more than $150, the employee is
The employee pays
responsible?
the difference. Yes.
Man, that's expensive boot. Yeah, man, my boots don't cost $150. I need to get me some vouchers from Freeport.
Public Works might still have an opening if you want to,
I get mine at Academy. You know, they'll last a year. You got to go back on the year date, but you got to, they'll last $100.
Council, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that one. Agenda item 4G, consideration and possible action on the approval of the Texas A&M Forest Service Fire and Rescue Equipment Grant. Chief Motley.
Yes, sir. Mayor and council. I put before you, we received this a little over 2 weeks ago, a $25,000 grant that we applied for came through. What we've identified is, actually it's $25,000 with 90% is covered by us. The 10% we had to put in with it as well. So the project we identified is a UTV to address some of our grass fires, things like that, to help put the fire out or carry personnel to the area where the apparatus cannot gain access. So staff recommends to accept this grant. and also recommendation that you allow me to go ahead and accept it on our behalf through the Texas Forestry Service Fire Connect software to acknowledge the grant. I also put in the council packet the breakdown of the expenses of roughly totaling $36,700. $25,000 will be paid that way towards it. The rest will be provided in support from the Freeport Firefighter Association annual fundraising to make up the difference. And we're also looking at other UTVs to bring that cost down as well. So that's where we're at tonight. So,
Chief, I appreciate you coming to us with grants all the time.
oh, it was a nice one to see come in the mail, tell you the truth.
Absolutely. Council, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Pena. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Matamoros. Council, do you have any questions or comments for Chief?
Yeah, I want to come to your grant class. I need some grants from a church or something, man.
This one
Get some grants. Man.
is, when they developed the program, kept it real simple. At the time, you had to mail in the application. It took longer to walk to the mailbox to put it in there. Keeps it very generic questions. You check the box. We're scored by a point system, and that's how it comes out across the state. So a lot of this is reaction to the wildland fires in the Panhandle. Last year, we got a grant that sat there for 7 years, pops up after budget year, but industry is a little tight to help support that grant. But this one, after I had to turn it back, this one showed up next week, the following Friday. So it was good to see something coming towards us to address our issues we have here locally. So
Nice.
All right.
Thanks again, Chief. Council, any other questions or comments?
No, just appreciate all you do, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0, unanimous. Thank you,
sir.
Chief.
Thank you.
Mayor, before we go on, I'd like to make a motion before we get into executive session.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to make a motion before we go into executive session.
Okay, what would that motion be, sir?
Well, I want to first thank the city for providing additional security. I want to make sure to make a motion to include commissioned officers in executive session, not only for the individual safety of the council, but if anybody on council tries to help, if any individual councilman is attacked, they can equally be injured
Okay, let's make
and/or possibly liable.
let's make the motion.
That's my motion here. I want to make sure the reason behind my motion is explained so that people understand.
We
It's
have a
about
motion.
individual safety, but
We have a,
collectively.
Councilman, we have a motion on the floor to include additional security in executive session. Is there a second? Motion fails on the lack of a second. At this time, it
Stand by.
is,
Stand
Councilman,
by, please.
Councilman? At this time, it is 7:08. We are closing the regular session of this meeting and going into executive session. City Council reserves the right to adjourn, la-da-da. Discuss any items listed above. Where do you have this at? All right, we're going into executive. Deliberation about real property, deliberation about gifts and donations, personal matters, and deliberation about security devices